Don't hold too much money in taxable accounts over a long period of time. As an investor, you have basically 3 different places that you can invest your money as far as taxes are concerned. You can have your money in a taxable account, a tax-deferred, or a tax-free account. But I think most people will underestimate the impact of taxes on their investments. So to illustrate the differences, I'm going to walk you through a real quick example of growing money each of these 3 different ways. And we'll use the same example each time. Now, the first way we'll take a look at growing money is everybody's favorite way, and that's in a tax-free environment. So let's assume that we went out, we put $1 in a tax-free account, and let's say hypothetically it doubled every single year over a 20-year period. At the end of the 20 years, you would have just over $1 million if you're growing the money tax-free. So in other words, $1 would become 2, then 4, then 8, then 16. Do that 20 years in a row, you'd have just over $1 million. Now, what happens if you take that same dollar and you put it into a taxable account? It could be a taxable money market or mutual fund, maybe a taxable CD. Again, hypothetically, we're going to double the value of the dollar every year over a 20-year period, but this time we're going to have to pay taxes on the growth out of the account. And let's say that we're in a 28% tax bracket, which is the national average for taxpayers when you add federal, state, and local taxes together. At the end of the 20 years, that dollar would only be worth right at $57,000. Now, why is that? Basically, what happens is taxes rob you of the compounding interest. Einstein is famous for saying compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. It's not that he had it wrong, he had it right. It's just when you allow the IRS to get a hold of your money, they have more than a little bit of an impact on it, don't they? Now, there's a third way that we could grow the dollar, and that's in a tax-deferred environment. So let's say we were to go out, put $1 into a tax-deferred account, hypothetically it doubled every year for 20 years. At the end of the 20 years, you would have just over $1 million, right? Because you don't pay any taxes along the way. But you will pay taxes when you take the money out. So let's assume that you took it all out all in 1 year. Now, most people don't do that, but for this example, let's say that we did. Then after tax, you'd probably have around $600,000. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but you're going to probably be somewhere around $600,000. So the tax-deferred account is not as good as growing your money tax-free, but it's probably at least 10 times better than having your money in a taxable environment. So make sure that you don't have too much money in taxable money markets, taxable CDs, or taxable mutual funds, because the IRS is going to have a dramatic impact on how much money you can spend and enjoy in the future. And that's this week's financial tip.